Shopping for a budget phone in 2026 means navigating a flood of extreme specifications. Massive batteries, high refresh rates, and megapixel counts pile higher and higher. This barrage of numbers creates an expectation that you can spend under $300 and walk away with a device that provides premium processing, top-tier cameras, and a flawless build. 5 years ago, the rules were much simpler. Every single component on a budget phone was equally average. The screen, the battery, the camera, they were all uniformly mediocre. Manufacturers have shifted away from these balanced devices, leaving the market without a reliable, general-purpose option for under $300. Brands have finite resources at this price point. Expecting flagship performance across the board results in a device that looks impressive on paper, but fails to deliver a consistent experience in the real world. To remain competitive, manufacturers are taking the entire production budget for a device and funneling it into one massive flagship-level component. Funding that single superpower requires strict accounting. To afford that one premium part, manufacturers make severe cost cuts in the display, the build materials, or the camera lenses. This chart shows how the market traditionally functioned. Affordable phones sat in this bottom left cluster, offering a low price but little feature specialization. Look at how the market operates now. Prices remain low, but feature sets have been pushed out to specialized extremes. Choosing a phone in this environment requires you to identify exactly which physical compromise you can tolerate every day. You have to move past comparing raw spec sheets and start evaluating devices against the specific friction points you encounter in your daily routine. The first specialized profile is the Endurance Workhorse, designed specifically to eliminate battery anxiety. Take the Realme Narzo 100X 5G. The entire identity of this phone is built around a massive 8,000 mAh battery cell. This capacity provides multiple days of uptime away from a wall outlet, and the ability to sustain heavy gaming sessions that would drain a standard device in hours. To handle that kind of intense use, manufacturers include a feature called bypass charging. When you plug the phone in while playing a heavy game, bypass charging routes power straight to the motherboard instead of the battery. This prevents the battery from generating excess heat, keeping the device cool and protecting the cell's lifespan. But housing an 8,000 mAh cell at this price requires intense engineering concessions. First, the physical footprint. You are carrying a noticeably heavy, thick slab of hardware in your pocket. Then there is the display. To afford the massive battery, you have to accept a lower contrast LCD screen rather than a vibrant OLED. The Endurance Workhorse sacrifices slim ergonomics and visual pop in exchange for absolute operational reliability. The second profile focuses its budget entirely on physical resilience in hostile environments. If you work on a construction site, do outdoor manual labor, or frequently drop your phone onto mud and concrete, this is built for you. Devices like the Vivo T5 Lite 5G prioritize defensive specs, carrying IP65 ratings and MIL STD 810H military-grade drop certifications straight out of the box. This creates an immediate financial benefit by removing the need to spend an extra $50 on a heavy-duty aftermarket case. To build a phone out of armored materials for under 20,000 rupees, cuts must be made to the internal hardware. The battery shrinks. You get a respectable 6,500 mAh cell, but that is significantly smaller than the Endurance build's 8,000 mAh. The optics take an even bigger hit. The camera sensors are basic, and they will severely struggle to produce clear photos in low-light conditions. The rugged Survivor forces you to abandon camera quality to ensure the device actually survives the workday. The final profile is the mid-tier Spec Maximizer. This phone is engineered to mimic the look, feel, and media capabilities of a $1,000 flagship. Devices like the upcoming Redmi Note 17 series push for high-end processing, utilizing chips like the Dimensity 7450 to power aggressive spec sheets. The visual benefits are obvious the second you turn the phone on. You get bright 1.5K OLED displays and support for massive 200-megapixel camera sensors. This provides a premium experience for streaming high-resolution video and taking well-lit photos in perfect conditions. However, these phones often suffer from a computational photography bottleneck. Budget neural processing units struggle to crunch the data generated by a 200-megapixel sensor. When shooting a moving subject or taking a photo at night, the processor often lags, resulting in blurry, poor-quality images. To afford the high-end screen and the massive camera sensor, the battery life drops back down to a strictly standard single-day capacity. This matrix shows how the modern budget market operates. In every column, the manufacturer buys one green superpower and pays for it with a harsh red compromise. Purchasing flagship features at a budget price guarantees you will encounter performance bottlenecks under the hood. To move from understanding these specs to making a final choice, you have to map these profiles onto your daily usage. Start at the top of this flowchart and answer, what is the primary reason you are replacing your phone? A dead battery maps to the endurance build. A shattered screen maps to the durability build. Crisp media maps to the spec maximizer. These devices solve specific problems for specific people, from delivery drivers and trade workers to heavy media consumers. Defining your single, non-negotiable need and ignoring the rest of the marketing noise is the only way to buy a budget device effectively. Choosing a phone in 2026 requires accepting that a perfect device doesn't exist. Success means successfully allocating your limited resources to solve your biggest daily problem.